What's good, y'all? It's your boy AJ, and welcome to Horror Fridays. Who knows?
Normal Uber driver.
Okay.
I did this for over a year with pretty much no issues, aside from the occasional customer mad that the restaurant messed up their order. Anyways, it was late Wednesday night, and I didn't have any classes in the morning, so I decided to make an extra few bucks and deliver for a little bit. I did 4 or 5 quick orders and ended up about 20 minutes from my dorm. It was about 1 a.m. now, and I figured I should probably end it there and head back. The way the delivery apps work is pretty much you just drive around and wait for a random order to pop up, and then it'll give you an estimate of how much you'll make and how far it is. Then you either accept or decline it. On my way back, I left the app running just in case there was a really quick delivery nearby. I got a few requests, but they were a bit too far and didn't seem worth it to me. But then another one popped up just as I was pulling into my dorm.
13 minutes and 12 miles.
It was about 12 miles away, but the payout was really big. I'd never seen anyone offer that much money before. I gave it some thought, as it was pretty far.
Don't take it. It's 1 a.m., bro.
It was too much money to pass up. I accepted the offer and started the directions to the restaurant. A few minutes later, I arrived and pulled up their order so I could make sure I picked up the right stuff. As I walked through the doors, I noticed the customer had only ordered 2 items, and the total was only over $6. This was really unusual, as typically the high-paying orders are because of large deliveries of expensive food. This meant that they were just giving me a really big tip.
Look at his face. Come on.
Giving me a really
his face looked like that, bro.
Big tip.
Oh man.
I got the food and went back to the car. During the drive there, I was really just trying to understand why they would give such a big tip for such a small order. It was a little weird, but honestly, I just came to the conclusion that it was either just a mistake or they were trying to be kind.
A little too kind.
Miles $250 from my campus. I had actually never been to this area. It was really nice, with mostly gated off neighborhood communities and huge houses. Luckily, their house wasn't gated, and I was able to just pull into the neighborhood. I looked at the homes as I passed by, and realized that the tip money made a lot more sense now. The street was long though, and I was just a couple minutes from the house when the customer sent me a text through the app. They told me to make sure I delivered the food to the right...
ECVO started as my college project.
I'm sorry, guys.
We now sell our real numbers all around the world.
Right address when I pulled up. I figured maybe the map showed his neighbor's house or something, so when I arrived, I sent him a text with a description of the house and asked if that was the right one. He replied no, and I waited for a little bit, expecting him to describe his house for me, but he never did. I sent him another text describing his neighbor's house, to which he replied no again. I was starting to get pretty annoyed with this guy, and tried calling him instead, but he refused to answer. He would ring a few times, and then he'd decline the call. I looked at the address again, and then copy and pasted it into Google to try and look it up there. Doing this, I actually noticed that the number for the address wasn't a regular number. It had a subset of numbers on it.
B1 half?
I'd never seen this before, and wasn't even sure what it meant, so I searched the address on Google and looked at the results. When I zoomed in on the map, I saw that the address actually pointed to a spot right in between the 2 houses. Zooming in further, it looked like there was a really small garage, or maybe even a shed. It was barely visible. I looked up from my phone and moved my eyes to between the 2 houses, and sure enough, there was a small garage-like structure. It was just a few feet from the main house that my delivery app brought me to. I honestly wasn't sure what to expect, or why someone would even live there, but I already came this far, so I wasn't about to walk away now. So I got out and started heading over. As I walked up the driveway, I could clearly see what the place was. It was pretty much just a large storage garage, probably meant for keeping an old car or something. I didn't see any normal door though, so I put the bag down by the garage door.
Run back to your car.
As I began taking my phone out to take a picture for
take
the
a picture
app,
and run.
a man came around the right side of the garage. I looked over at him, and he just stood still, staring at me.
No.
The guy was really creeping me out, so I said,
nah,
"It's right here for you, sir," as I pointed at the bag and slowly started walking away.
As you should.
And
Slowly.
he replied, telling me that this wasn't where he wanted me to drop it off.
Man, you here, so
I
get
turned
it.
around and noticed that he was still standing in the same spot.
Bro, I would've... Bro.
Sorry, where did you want me to put it? I said, starting to get really uneasy about the situation. He pointed around the back of the garage and said that the door was over there. At that point, there was no way I was going to follow that guy to wherever he was trying to get me to
Hey,
go.
no, you here, bro. Here's your food. Bye. That's it. I'm not... Oh, I dropped
The
my
man
mic.
was looking
Couldn't
back
be me.
behind the garage, but he left the bag of food. I got out
Run
of
back
there
to your
and
car.
drove back to my dorm, shaking the whole way back.
Exactly.
Something about that whole thing felt very off.
And you got the
The
money,
fact
too.
that it was in a really nice neighborhood made me even more confused. The more I thought about it, though, I realized just how strange it was that he needed to specify for me not to deliver to the main house, and that he refused to take the food unless I followed
he
him
was on
to
something,
behind the
bro.
garage.
He was on something.
I'd never had to call the police before in my whole life, and I ended up not calling them this time either, as I really wasn't sure if maybe he was just some weird harmless guy.
Nah, man. He looked too weird.
Anyways,
I ain't
it
going back
freaked me
there.
out for a few days, but
Look,
eventually
you got a
I got
knife,
over
bro.
it
Nah.
and continued doing
Look at his
deliveries in my
eyes,
spare
bro.
time.
You tell my man's went through it. Look. You can tell my man's went through it, bro. Look at his eyes. Bro, nah.
But eventually I got over
You
it
can stay
and
behind the
continued
shed,
doing
bro.
deliveries
I
in
ain't
my
going
spare
back there.
time. Nothing else happened, though a couple weeks later I had another big order pop up on my app, and the area of delivery was the same.
Nah, don't pick it up this
I
time.
obviously declined it, but I couldn't help but think about whoever ended up accepting that order.
$3.99?
and what happened to them during their delivery.
$3.99.
It was
What's the moral of the story, guys? Don't accept big orders. Well, accept big orders, but if you meet a creepy dude like that dude, just drop it off and don't follow him behind the shed. Like, come on. Don't do that. I would not be doing that, bro. This is the second one.
at a small store near my apartment. My usual shift ended at 9 p.m., and then I'd usually go do food deliveries for a couple of hours before heading home.
Nah, I couldn't
actually
be me,
enjoyed
man.
doing
Hey,
it.
after work, I be wanting to go home. I don't want to do nothing else, bro. Especially at 9 o'clock, bro. I want to go to bed, bro.
Deliveries at
I do
night,
not want to work
as the
for a
roads
couple more
weren't
hours,
busy,
man.
and most other
Well, it
delivery
depends, it
drivers would
depends.
work during the day and would take all the orders, so I'd actually get more orders to do at night. Anyways, I had just gotten out of work and set up my app to get ready to do some deliveries. The first one that came in was quick and only took about 15 minutes. Then I waited for a few minutes before the next order came in. It was a good payout, and the delivery address was 20 minutes away from where I was. I headed over to the fast food restaurant to pick up their food, then started making my way over to the house. The town I live in isn't too big and has a lot of empty plots of land. There's the main center of town, which is where my apartment is, and most of the restaurants. Then, about 10 minutes out, there's a lot of farmland, and the houses are much more spread out. Almost all of the deliveries I get are within the town area, but every once in a while I'll get a delivery further out into the farm area. I assumed this was going to be a farmhouse since it was 20 minutes away. However, the app said that the address was located in a small neighborhood area just off of a small highway. I didn't like delivering to isolated farmhouses at night, as it just kind of creeped me out, so I was happy to be delivering to a neighborhood home. Once I got off the highway, I turned left and started making my way down the road toward the neighborhood. but almost immediately I got a call from an unknown number. I declined it as I thought it was just a scam.
Declined it, bro.
But just a few seconds later, they called again.
Keep on declining
it was probably the customer.
Don't answer it.
I accepted it. Hello? I asked.
Why would you answer?
A few seconds went by with no response, so I just hung up. But then again, just a few moments later, the same number called me.
Bro, turn your phone on.
I answered, and almost immediately a guy speaks and tells me I turned the wrong way.
Bro, is that the dude from the last story's brother or cousin? They got the same eyes. Don't tell me I'm tripping now.
He said his address
they got the same eyes
on the delivery app, and that he always has to call and let the drivers know where to go. I said okay and asked him how to get there. He told me that when I got off the highway, I needed to take a right from that road, then take the third left. He mentioned it was a gravel path that led to his farmhouse at the end. I told him I'd be there in a few minutes and turned the car around. I've had multiple customers call me before to tell me that the address was a little off, or to give me directions on unnamed roads, as it was pretty common out here, so I honestly didn't think much of it. I passed the highway that I turned off of and continued until I found the third left and turned onto the gravel path. The path went into a small forest of trees, and it was really dark.
Oh, there go forest again.
I didn't like these areas at night, so I was definitely a little nervous driving down this isolated gravel road. Once I started getting nervous, I began thinking about how strange it was that the map had taken me so far in the opposite direction of the house that the man claims is his actual address. I tried to bury those thoughts, assuring myself that I was just overthinking it because I was nervous. A couple minutes passed though, and there was still no house in sight. At this point, I wasn't even sure if I had turned down the right path, but the trees were too close to the sides, so I didn't have much room to turn around anyways. I figured I'd continue down to the end, then call to ask if I had the right place, and turn around there if not. Another minute or two went by before I finally reached the end,
open?
as it merged into a small circle driveway next to a house.
No.
I drove up to the path that led to the front door and parked the car next to a for sale sign that was put up in the front of the house. Seeing that, I wasn't sure if I had the right house, but I looked over at the front door and it was open, and I could see someone further back wave at me. Figuring I was good, I grabbed the bag and started making my way over to the door.
I would have threw it in the door, bro. I would not gotten out, bro.
And began putting the bag down. I saw the man again down the hallway that led to the kitchen. He politely asked me if I could set the food down on the kitchen counter, then quickly walked away as if he was in a rush, and then I heard him turn the sink on in the kitchen. Hesitantly, I took a step into the house and looked around. It was decorated with old furniture and accessories, but it almost looked like it was completely unused. I quickly made my way down the hall and into the kitchen, but as soon as I got there, I noticed that the sink was still running, but the man was nowhere in sight.
Did he disappear?
This made chills run down my body, and I quickly set the bag down on the counter and got out of there as quick as I could.
As you should.
I could hear the man yell something from the front door as I got back in my car, but I couldn't understand what he said. I put the car in drive and went back out.
Another ad? Come on. We're just getting juicy.
Out the way I came. I didn't stop driving until I got to the parking lot of my apartment. Then I pulled my phone out and saw multiple missed calls from that same number.
Why is he keep calling
I blocked the number, then opened the delivery app so I could end my deliveries for the night. But that's when I noticed that I had messages from the customer through the app telling me that I had turned the wrong way and that I was at the wrong house. I went into shock for a moment, realizing that the man that had called me wasn't my actual customer, and the house I was in was just some stranger's house. I called the police immediately and reported everything to them. An officer came to my apartment to go over more details soon after. I had no idea how this man could have known that I was doing a delivery and had been able to see my location. The officer said that my phone had likely been hacked and that the man was probably monitoring everything that I was doing. Hearing this made me really uncomfortable. As if all of that wasn't bad enough, The next day,
And
I
the
was
door still
informed
open.
that the house I was at was actually vacant, as it was for sale by the owners who had moved out months ago. The man had apparently gotten in through an unlocked window in one of the rooms. As of right now, they still haven't found anything significant that could lead to finding the man, which makes me feel really unsafe. I don't know for sure what the man was trying to do, but I think it's a pretty good assumption that he was probably planning on kidnapping me, or maybe even worse. I try not to think about it too much, but I can't help but go over all of the horrible things that could have happened on that night.
Yeah, you never know, man. You never know. Anyways, what's the moral of the story, guys? I don't even know, to be honest. But, oh, do not deliver too late at night, man. Because, why? People be asleep. Why would you do that? But I understand that they probably tip more at night, but come on. That's going to cost you your life one day. Or, you never know. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up, comment down below. Make sure you share this video with your friends. Hit that subscribe button because it's absolutely free. And I will see you guys in the next one.